That's where I'm at. This is also a good test. We're in the legal department. That's great. This is a good test for us to make sure the Q&A is working, because I want to encourage you throughout this process, this call that we're going to have. We like it to be interactive. There will be times maybe we'll have to ignore the question in the chat just to get to kind of the point that we're making, but we'll always make sure to address all of your questions. But a lot of times the questions in the chat, the Q&As, they're helpful to make sure we're covering things that you guys think are valuable. Awesome. Wow, we're seeing a lot of different ones. A couple caregiving, that's exciting. Contract admins, we see some accounting, some finance in here, procurement. It's awesome to see. Again, Concord is the great thing, and especially about where we're going as an organization, is to make Concord valuable to people in all departments. And I'll get to some of these points later. But again, we really want to make sure that you're getting benefit out of Concord. That's what this thing's for. So I'm going to get started just in one more minute. I like to get started 2 minutes past the hour. So if you need to get a refill of coffee or water or go to the restroom, we'll get started here in a minute or two. Thanks again for attending. Alrighty. Again, I just love to keep saying it. My name is Blake. I'm a customer success manager. We have an amazing dedicated team of CSMs at Concord who just want to make sure that you guys are getting the most out of your Concord account. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. I'll have a link to make sure you guys know how to do so at the end of our call today. Alrighty. Okay, everyone, we're going to get started here. Again, we're talking about forecasting today. We're talking about forecasting with data in Concord. So to get started, I'm going to tell you a little bit about, just a reminder kind of about where we're going as a company. As I mentioned, we're doing some exciting things, trying to add value to your account. So first, we're going to talk about agreement intelligence. What does it do? This is, obviously agreement intelligence sounds a lot like artificial intelligence, and that is definitely intentional. We're going to have a live AI demo from a current customer that's using Concord from Michael at Way to Be One. And then we're going to even talk about more. We're going to have someone internal to Concord. Guys, we're not just creating things that we think will be helpful to you. We're actually building things that we use ourselves. And so we're going to talk about how to forecast budgets with AI extracted data. So let's talk more about agreement intelligence. And it's that idea at the top, right? It's everything that happens after the signature. Everybody on Concord is using us as a document repository. Everybody's storing contracts in Concord, and there's value in that. But if you're only using it for that, this is really for you guys to hear that there's so much more that you can do. And what we're doing as a business is trying to add more value on top of that, right? So once you bring your contracts into Concord, there's data that you can put in that summary panel. There's information that you can put in there. So it's not just an obligation that you're committed to. Your contracts are definitely that, right? They're legal obligations. They're things that you have to do and follow up on. But the benefit of what we're trying to provide to you is like, what can I learn from those obligations? How can I forecast? How can I budget? And so the object of the goal of the artificial intelligence that we have is to start pulling that information for you. Is to be able to pull that information for you. And so if we're talking about agreement intelligence, we're talking about the data within your contracts. If we're talking about the AI, it's the automatic extraction of that data. So again, I want to make sure I underline that and double down on it. The value of Concord moving forward, where you really get the bang for your buck, is extracting data. You can do it manually, but our AI is doing it automatically and accurately. We've talked about it a million times. You may be tired of hearing about it. I'm not tired of talking about it. So it's currently pulling 3 areas in your contract, and we're making it even better. So currently what it's doing is it's automatically populating third-party data. So who is the contract with? We're getting a summary, like what is happening in the contract. It's even pulling life cycle details and information all automatically, all consistently, and instantaneously, right? And then what we're going to include and what we're going to start doing is start pulling financial information, financial terms, total contract value. We're going to start allowing you to ask, hey, I like to pull these sort of properties from your contracts. So the AI is awesome. We love it. We're really proud of it, and we're making it better. But what I'm going to have is actually Michael at the CTO, way to be one. Michael, if you don't mind, would you be able to share your screen and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you guys are using the AI on your Concord account?
Sure. So just a little bit of background. I've been with Way to Be One for just under a year at this point. And when I joined, we noticed that contract management was just a little bit of a pain point. I'd used Concord previously at a company called The Real Real. It had worked out well for us, so we adopted it here. Our AI usage is on the simplistic side to start with, but I think it goes with what you were just saying, Blake, in terms of like, it's helped save us time when we were trying it out during the beta. So I'll go ahead and share my screen and just give a very quick demo of what that looks like. Okay, so everyone should be able to see my screen. So I've got a bunch of just random order forms and renewal. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here to new documents, and I'm going to store and track something that was previously uploaded. So I've got a renewal for a platform called BuildKite. Now, previously, I would go in and I would type in like, all right, here's the title of the document. Here's all the life cycle dates. Life cycle dates are actually really important for me. That's one of the biggest things I use Concord for is how do I know when this contract comes up for renewal? How do I know when there's one of those 60-day notifications of non-renewals that try to sneak up on you? So we, by policy, enforce that everyone has to fill out those fields when they put something in Concord. But the nice thing about the AI feature is it does a lot of the work for me. So I just uploaded it. I didn't type in anything. We got it spinning over here with the autofill in progress. Does take a moment. Usually, I just upload something and go do something else for a minute.
Yep. So what it's doing is it's reading that contract. It's basically doing what I would do if I was going to put information in that summary panel. It's reading it, and so you're right that it's doing that manually or doing automatically for you.
Here we go. So it just populated a name, and now if I go to the summary, it already picked up like, all right, here's us, here's BuildKite, here's a short description, here's the sign date, effective date, end date, tacit renewal, all the things that I would basically want. So, this saved me maybe 30 seconds of time, 60 seconds, but added up over the course of how many contracts you do, like if you do a lot of contracts, that's quite a lot.
Yep.
But that's basically how we're using it.
That's awesome. Thanks. And so from there, if I understand you correctly, you're then using either a deadline section of the account or the deadline reminders that are sent to you. Is that right?
That's right. So the way that I have it set up is I have a weekly report, and I can just show you quickly on a different screen just what my email looks like. Again, dirt simple, but this is one from a little while ago. So I have mine configured to warn me at the 60-day mark in some cases and 90-day mark in some others. And so this was just like, hey, this this one's from a little bit longer, but this is saying, okay, I have an agreement with OpenVPN that renews in 90 days. The way I do it is the first time something pops onto here, that's my trigger to go look at the contract. Be like, all right, do I have the right number of seats? Do I have the right number of terms? Are we planning on renewing this vendor? So on and so forth. And then these notifications on non-renewal are also super important because, if you want to make any changes to a contract, I have been burned before where it sneaks up on you and it's like, it's a 60-day notification period, and you realize 30 days out that you actually need a change, and then your vendor's like, well, you've already renewed, and then it's this whole song and dance where you get into arguments. So this prevents that by giving me early enough warning. So this is a super simple case. Some days I'll have like 8 or 10 things on the report, but just every Monday morning that hits my box, and it makes sure that I see contracts that need attention before it becomes a problem.
Yep, I love that. Thank you, Michael, for showing us. And you're that is a perfect example of what we're talking about today. Definitely, right? The AI is saving you time. Like if the AI is on your account, if you've upgraded to have AI, you can use it as the person I'm talking to right now, but also so can all of your users. So as Michael mentioned, it might save you 30 seconds on this one contract and the thousands more that you update, but also all of your users will be able to use it as well. But what I like about what you're saying is that as soon as the AI pulls information from your contract into that deadline section, it's automatically updating those deadline reminders for you and all of the other people that that receive them. So what it's allowing you to do is better forecast and look forward, right? Because what we want to be able to enable you to do is to start looking forward, to start being more proactive than reactive. And we want that to kind of start happening automatically. If I've met with you before, just general person here, I've told you how important the summary panel is. That's where you put all of your metadata in your contract, right? That's where you put your good data in to get your good data out. So what the AI is doing is it's automatically extracting information and automatically putting that good data in. We've already talked about that. Now let's talk about what happens after there, because we've talked about how it can populate your deadline reports, but also if you've ever used our reporting functionality, if you've ever looked in your inbox and kind of modified those columns, the places where we get that information is your summary panel. And so it'll export that data directly to an Excel spreadsheet. It'll tell you maybe if you have annual spend in those spreadsheets and those from that pulls directly from those contracts. And it allows you just to do many things. And so what I'm going to now pass it to is Mike here in a second, who uses our AI internally. He's going to give a great example of how he uses it. But it can allow you to do so many different things. So I'm going to hand it off to you, Mike, to kind of talk about how you're using AI in Concord right now for forecasting.
Thank you, Blake. And first off, thank you, Michael, for joining. We obviously appreciate customers coming and showing and telling a bit, and appreciate you being a champion at multiple companies now for Concord. So thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Mike Palladino. I am the VP of Revenue here. So sales and CX roll into me, and forecasting is near and dear to my function in my day job here. So I wanted to just tell a little story about some of the challenges that I experienced when I started here, specific to our renewal forecasting, right? Understanding which customers are up for renewal, how we can potentially predict what that looks like, maybe save some stuff. But what I'm showing here is essentially what I inherited when I first joined, which was a monthly outlook of our renewal cohorts and where our revenue stands, how we might be able to save as much of this or grow as much of this in a predictable, repeatable, and scalable fashion. The issue is all this expresses is a blended dollar amount per month, right? So there's not a lot of opportunity for me to drill down and get specific on an account basis. So Blake, if you could skip ahead to the next slide, I'd appreciate it. The problem that we were experiencing is that blended dollar amount in renewal cohorts made it seem like all of this revenue from a forecasting perspective would behave the same way. But we also have folks who are paying on monthly plans. We have folks that are paying on annual plans. We even have customers that have an annual commitment, but a monthly payment term. And so personally, I want to try to be able to forecast all three of those different types of payment plans and terms. And so how did we clean this mess up and get a little bit more predictable on our renewal forecast? Let's click ahead here. The old way would have been, I'd have a human being go through each and every contract that we had in the system, manually enrich our CRM, which is HubSpot, with the relevant details, term, payment cycle, renewal date, right? That is labor intensive, right? Mike talked about saving 30 or 60 seconds per new contract. I'm talking about hundreds of contracts that I want to process very, very quickly, right? To extract all of that data so that I can segment my forecast a little bit better. So what did we do? We bulk extracted these data points with our AI. And we did have to manually enrich our CRM. We haven't gotten to the point to where we have another sync back into HubSpot to update these fields in CRM. So there was a little bit of a manual effort there. That said, it informed our product team that, hey, we might be able to add value even more with our HubSpot integration by connecting it to a workflow similar to this, so that we could largely automate the entire process and get to this end result, which we're going to show on the next slide here. We're able to break it out, right? So now we have an outlook on our monthly accounts. We have an outlook on our annual accounts, a single view of all of those cohorts, and it's accurate and up to date. The business result of this outcome ended up being that over the last 3 months, we've improved our renewal accuracy by 10 percentage points in our favor, right? So previously we had a big range of trying to predict what types of renewal performance we would have. And we've actually narrowed that down to being within 5 to 10 percentage points on our forecast a quarter out, right? So we're looking 90 days out and able to predict how much money's coming in the door and how many customers we might actually be losing by a factor of 10 percentage points. So it's been a meaningful business impact to a problem that we had, and a great way to sort of champion our own solution internally. And we wanted to share that with you. So thank you for the time and let me do that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Before I get to like the end of it and start wrapping up, thank you both, Mike and Michael, for giving us real life examples. I want to pass it off to, I guess, everybody else. Are there any questions, I guess, over things we've covered, or you have two people here that are using it, right? Using our AI, using Concord. Does anybody have any questions for us at the moment? And I don't want to put you on the spot here. You know that you have your CSM available to have private meetings, private conversations if you don't feel comfortable, but definitely I want to encourage you to go in the chat and ask those questions. While you're typing, I am going to move on and I'm going to talk about what do you do with this information. If you don't have any questions, but you're just ready to learn more and actually see it maybe in action, get a demo, something along those lines, reach out to us. Talk to us, reach out to your CSM or your contact here with Concord to talk about AI. If you don't know who that person is, I'm putting in the chat a way to get a hold of us. So go and follow that link if you want to learn more, or if you have specific questions, just follow that link. You'll be put in contact with the customer success manager that is assigned to support you. We have people that we are assigned to talk to, and so you'll get your person, and they'll be your consistent person moving forward. I'm not seeing any questions here in the chat, which I hope is a good sign. And so I'm gonna, give it some more time here, but I do appreciate you guys coming. We have some exciting things coming down the road with AI, right? So currently, we're talking about there was some manual enrichment, right? It did require reading those contracts, but it's only going to get better. Like soon, for example, we'll be able to pull the total contract value for these contracts, right? All of this information will be pulled automatically. Get on board now so you can take advantage of those improvements and even give us your feedback. I hope that that's been communicated over these last few webinars, and I always love to emphasize that we are in an exciting season as a company where we have the capacity and the energy to build some really exciting things. And we're creating those things by listening to you guys. So come on board with our AI, tell us what you want it to do, and we'll take your feedback. We're going to take all of your feedback and we're going to try to build things that you guys think are valuable. All right. Again, Michael, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for showing us your Concord account. We really appreciate it. Mike, as always, thanks for coming on board and also talking about how we're using it. We've officially, I think, with seeing no questions, ended the specific topic for today. So, if that's all you wanted to hear, I hope you guys have a great day. As always, I do like to keep the floor open. I like to use this extra time just to ask any questions about Concord. So if you guys have some you want to ask me as a CSM, bring it on. And I'm sure I love to share with the class. But thanks, guys, for coming today. We really appreciate your time and participation in the chat. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Thank y'all. Take care.